Hello and welcome back to another video. And in today's video you might be able to tell that we're a couple of heifers shorter and no teaser bull. That's because we sold 3 heifers out of the 5 and we finally got to sell the teaser bull. Now we were supposed to sell 4 out of the 5 heifers. The only heifer that we were supposed to be keeping was this one because she's only 2-year-old and we wanted to bull her, but we decided to keep this one. The father is mad into those mousy coloured cattle, the same of what she is, and even though she's well up in the 500 kg region when we weighed her, I think he just wants to try her again, even though she kept repeating last year over the summer when we tried bulling them. But we're going giving her another go. He wants to keep her because he's mad into the mousy ones. So we're keeping her for a bulling and we're keeping her for a bulling. So 3 heifers gone, teaser bull gone, total of 4 animals sold. Obviously there's a couple here that we want to sell, but we'll get into that later on in the video as well. But you probably already know which 2 I'm talking about. There's 2 in there out of the 5 that we want to sell. They're cows. So yeah, so I guess what was it, Tuesday morning we put the white cow and her calf in that little pen there and we shut that gate across. We curtailed this cow and her calf in there and we just tied up a makeshift gate going across there, and then we took out the 3 heifers we wanted. We ran them down here. Those 2 gates were opened, so something like this. That gate was latched that way, white cow, calf in there, and then we just had another gate running across that way to curtail them in. We opened the far gate down below there. We got the 3 heifers we wanted and we ran them up here. They came in here. This gate was opened and we ran them down the crush where we had the cattle trailer backed up here, and we loaded them on, and that was our first load. We put 3 heifers on the first load, and then for the second and last load it was the teaser bull by himself. So we basically, the white cow and calf are still in there, so we opened that gate there and let the teaser bull out, and the same way ran through the 2 pens, up the crush and onto the trailer. So that is that. And then when all of them was loaded and gone into the Mart, we put everything back in their own place. We took the gate away from her and let her have the whole pen, and we put the white cow and calf back in here on the slats. We also put a bar going across the wall there, so the calf has a little sort of creep where he has a rubber mat and a bit of straw to lie on. So happy days. It looks, the shed looks a little bit bare, a little bit empty, but yeah, we'll go and crunch the numbers, and the father doesn't want me giving sort of the exact prices that we got for them up on the internet, so we'll give you a sort of a region price, and then, you know, we'll take it from there then. And we'll just go through their sort of weights. I have a couple of clips of them as well in the ring. I was able to go on to Mart, the app, and record some of that, so we have clips of them as well. And we have the 3 clips of the 3 heifers, and we have the clips of the teaser bull as well, so we can put that up on screen as well. But anyways, we'll sit down somewhere and we'll crunch the numbers. So first up was the teaser bull. So he weighed 522 kg. We bought him for the mid 100 mark, so like 4, 5, 600 euro, and we sold them in the mid 1000 range. So, you know, 1400, 1500, 1600, somewhere around that region. So we made a fairly good profit on the teasable. We made, on average, we made half. We got half our money back and we made half of it in profit as well. So that wasn't too bad on the teasable. And because he was a Frisian and he was a teasable, I didn't know how well those livestock would have done in our mart, personally, the mart that we always go to, because all that's in there is sort of Aberdeen Angus and limousines and Charlies and heifers and all that, and just sort of those breeds and crossbreeds and pedigree breeds and all that. I didn't know continental breeds. I didn't know how well sort of Frisians would do. So that was the first time that we had a Frisian animal on our farmyard, and we sold them and we got a nice bit of money out of him. Obviously he mightn't have been as good for a 522 kg animal, but he was a Frisian. He mightn't have done as well as a 522 kg limousine or a Charlie or an Aberdeen Angus or the likes of that. But we were fairly happy with the results we got for him. So on average now, we were getting €2.30 per kg for him, which again is not too bad for a Frisian, if that's, you know, if it was a continental breed or a crossbreed or a pedigree breed like limousine, Charlie, Angus, Hereford, that maybe a little bit more average on the money per kg, but again, not too bad for our little teaser bull. He's gone, we made a profit, happy days. So our first heifer that entered the ring was 220, also known as our heaviest heifer when we weighed them ourselves with our own new weighing scales. So 220 weighed 600 kg. We got the low 2000s for them. So on average we got €3.60 per kg for her, which again is not too bad. Whatever they are in the factories, whether they're 5 or 6 or 7 euro per kg, you're not going to really get that in the markets. Especially the heifers and teaser bull that we sold, they weren't ready for finishing, they were more store. So whoever bought our teaser bull and whoever bought our heifers would keep them on maybe for another 2 or 3 months and just do like really intensive meal feed, be dosing meal into them, giving them their required amounts and all that per weight and all that sort of maths, and be getting them up to weight and up to standard for a good right weight and a good standard for finishing them. Any people that bought our animals weren't buying them to finish them in a week. It was buying them, feeding them, fattening them up even more again and putting more weight on them and putting more weight on their carcass, and then after maybe 2 or 3 months then they'll be getting they'll be put into the food chain. So again, a low 2000 region, so maybe around the 2000 to 2300 region for our 600 kg heifer. Not too bad, with an average of €3.60 per kg. Again, we were happy with that as well. We were happy with the teaser bull, and I think we were fairly happy with all our heifers as well. So yeah. heifer of ours to enter the ring was 219. She weighed 528 kg. We got the low 2000s for her as well, so again in between the 2000 to 2300 region. And on average we got €4.10 per kg for that heifer, which is surprisingly enough that our 600 kg heifer, so the heifer that weighed more, got slightly less in the mart and also slightly less weight per kg than the second heaviest heifer that we sold in the mart, which was 528 kg compared to the 600 kg. So, you know, we got a little bit more for the lighter heifer than we did for the heavier heifer, but maybe it's, you know, to do with the conformation and all that, and on the EU or OP scale and the 1, 2, 3, 4 fatness scale, that all comes into play as well when you're buying cattle for finishing. So again, a very good result with the second heifer and a very good result with the first heifer and the teaser bull. So then we just move on to our last heifer. And finally, our last and lightest heifer, 211, weighed in at 488 kg. We got the mid 1000s for her, so about 1400 to maybe the 1600, 1700 mark. And on average, we got €2.80 per kg, which again is not too bad. It's a bit more than the teaser bull at the 230. But obviously our more heavier heifers coming in at the low 2000s with a €3.60 per kg or €4.10 per kg on average. So again, you know, not too bad. A heifer that's you know 480 kg coming in at the mid 1000 area is not too bad. When you look at the slightly heavier heifers that we had, they were coming in at the low 2000s. So, you know, and again, as in the mart, we were looking really good, exceptional Charlies and really good, exceptional limousines. We're getting sort of mid 2000s to high 2000s, sometimes on a very rare occasion reaching the 3, but that was very rare. And as per usual, the Charlies probably had a slight more edge over the limousines in the mart. That usually, in our mart anyways, the Charlies usually have that slightly more advantage than the limousines, which is what we have. We have limousine crosses, so. But again, we're fairly happy with the results. So, you know, when the prices, as I mentioned in previous videos, when the prices are good in the factories, they tend to be fairly good in the marts, and if the prices are poor in the factories, they tend to be fairly poor in the marts, because they sort of level each other out. One isn't going to be higher than the other, and vice versa, and all that. So if one is good, the other is good. But again, these prices that we're witnessing in the factories and these prices that we're witnessing in the marts, are they going to last long? You see, that's another thing. It's all right selling cattle, but when you come to buying cattle in, that is a whole different story, which we'll get into now shortly in this video as well. But yeah, we've made a nice bit of money, and we were fairly happy, especially with well, I was fairly happy with the teasable, because I did not think he would go for the price that he went for. Because in our Mart you don't see a whole lot of Friesians running about the place. It's usually limousines and Charlies and Angus's, as I mentioned. But yeah, fairly happy with the teasable, and the other heifers as well. I was fairly happy with them as well. I was hoping maybe 600 kg heifer might have gotten a little bit more, but the price that we got for it was still not bad at all compared to previous years when the prices were a lot lower. For that heifer at 600 kg compared to maybe the year before or 2 years, you wouldn't be getting prices like that. So a fairly productive day in the Mart for us. So happy out. Now, let me know down in the comment sections what you think of our Mart day, our very productive Mart day. Was it good? Have you sold any cattle, heifers, bullocks, bulls, cows, calves, whatever recently, and what are the prices like in your Mart? But we were fairly happy with the prices we got. Some Marts might be a bit more popular and have a bit more people going to it and all that than other Marts, and the money might be slightly better in different Marts depending on a lot of different things really, different parts of the countries, maybe even different parts of the county depending on where you live in. But the Mart that we go to, which is where we buy and sell most of our livestock, is basically, you could say, our local Mart. That's the Mart we always go to. So yeah, anyways, we have money from, we got a bit of money from our 4 animals that we sold, but a lot of that money now will disappear very quickly, because as I mentioned, it's all right selling cattle and bringing money in, but then when it comes to buying cattle, the money is going out, especially with the prices they are going now. So the plan is probably to get either calves that are sort of old enough and would be coming off milk replacer, and they can be eating calf crunch or meal and silage, or we can be getting some ones around these guys' age here, you know, about a year and a, some of these would have been born on late sort of maybe November, December of 2023, January, February, March 2024. So late 23, early 24, these ones would be getting. So if we can get maybe calves and weanlings similar to their age, maybe 2 or 3 more to go along with these guys, so when they go out on grass we have a bit more and we can have more grass ate. With heifers, I don't know, we could buy in more heifers and bull them, but again, they're going for a lot of money. The other option that we're leaning to, as well as getting some calves in, is getting some springers in, some cows that are in calf and ready to calf. We do want to sell 2 cows out of 3 here, so we want to bull the other mousy one and that one there. That mousy one is in calf, and this one we want to sell. And again, they're still not separated. We wanted them 2 that we're selling to be in their own pen, so we can feed them meal and all that, and put up their weights and make it look good in the Mart and all that sort of stuff. But we haven't got around to separating them and putting them into their own pens yet, because of the lack of room. When we had a pen full of heifers, when we had a pen with a teaser bull in it, when we had, you know, just the room was kind of limited. But now that we have only 2 heifers left and we have a big pen there, they don't need all that room, and we have a small pen here, we could, you know, if we do decide to get maybe weanlings, some calves in and around their age, if we buy them in, we'll probably have to sort of quarantine them, so maybe put them in their own pen for a couple of weeks before we start mixing them with our own livestock. So yeah, those are the two options the father is leaning to: getting a couple of younger calves, year-olds, or getting a couple of cows that are in calf and ready to pop, as some people might say. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, what do you think you'd go for? I think the calves might be slightly cheaper, but even at that, they're still quite expensive in today's, with the prices that they're going for now. Because we'll say maybe 2 weeks ago, before we did sell our animals in the mart, we caught the tail end of the calves in the mart. There was a little Frisian calf now, probably only a couple of months old, 2 to 3 months old, and went for €180. Maybe he was only a month old, or maybe just turned 2 months old, but he went for €180. There was a time when you couldn't sell little Frisian calves. They were basically giving them away. You could buy them for just a couple, you know, maybe 40, 50, 60 euro. But now they're going for €180. We'll have to keep a close eye now on calves in the mart to see what they're going for the next couple of weeks, and maybe the cows that are in calf, just to gauge price wise and roughly how much we would have to spend, because I'm guessing we would have to spend quite a bit. Because again, if we were going for the calves, maybe 2 or 3 more to go along with them, and maybe another 2 or 3 cows that are in calf. Anyways, 4 cattle sold, a lot of money made, but the doom and gloom is on the horizon, because we will have to buy in some livestock. But that is the farming life at the end of the day. You sell livestock and you buy in more livestock. But anyways, that is going to be the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my merch. The link to that will be down in the description. And I'll see you in my next video very soon. Take care.